Hello, Dream Team. Welcome along to a little special. We have got a big show for you this week, rounding up all of the headlines in the game of rugby union at the moment, of which there are quite a few. But as we were recording this week's podcast, perhaps the biggest headline of all dropped, and that is the news that Owen Farrell, it is now confirmed, has signed for Racing 92. He has signed a 2-year deal. He will join the Paris club from July the 1st this year. We wondered, because James and I did a show I think it was about 10 days ago with Johnny May. We wondered whether, well, at that point it looked very likely. It then went very quiet. You wondered whether there was a bit of negotiation. But the news is that he is off to Paris. And the gut reaction to that is?
I thought initially it was some skullduggery. I thought if you're going to leave a club that thought you would never leave, what do you do? Practically sign a deal in France, then you'll pay the absolute wonga. But he's gone. I think it's an amazing opportunity for him. I thought Finn Russell summed it up very nicely, and as my experience of France would tell you, you've got to put everything you think on hold, maintain your personal standards, embrace everything. What you think you know, you don't know. Learn the language as quickly as possible to really, really interact. Something I didn't do as much as I should have done, really.
Your French is quite good, actually.
Oh, it depends. When I get pissed up, it's okay. But once you say voulez-vous coucher avec moi a few times, bonjour, it sort of loses its power. But Ollie Phillips, my housemate, did it, and just the connections you get off the back of it. I think when you're steering a team, you need to do that. I think Owen will bring. I think it'll be brilliant for him. I think he's always been a Saracens man. I think playing in a completely different country with in a different style with some amazing players will bring the best out of him. I think his game will adjust because he has the skills to do that. And I think he played a type of rugby that suited the Premiership. I couldn't be more excited for him. Couldn't be more excited for his family. I think it's utterly amazing. I think it's sad that he won't be playing with Saracens. Yeah. Sad we won't have him over for England. But what an opportunity. And I'm very impressed that he had the bravery to do it, because if you said, was a one man going to finish out his career at Saracens, you say, yeah, is a one man who turned his back on England for whatever reasons. You would say it wasn't Owen Farrell. To do this, I think, shows the maturity, and I couldn't back him anymore.
Would you agree with that? It's a very exciting step for Owen Farrell. It's quite a sad.
I don't think it's sad. I think it's in the right time for him to go and enjoy it. He can still play for the British and Irish Lions whilst he's playing over there. He's taking a sabbatical from England. I think what this is telling us is he just needed, Wilco said the best thing about Toulon was he could just hide away. It was just wasn't that intense media focus that Owen is constantly put under, and a lot of the time unnecessarily. Whereas I think in Paris, if he goes and shows what he does for Sarries week in, week out, it will be thanked, it'll be lauded. The team and the people he's got around him, with like the likes of Sia and the other young players, Henry Arundel, Juan Imhoff, all these guys. I think he's gonna love it, and I think he's gonna live in a nice little bubble in Paris, and he can slide on by, enjoy his rugby. 2 years time, he can make his decision whether he wants to come back and go for another Rugby World Cup, and and hopefully he'll be ready to face the barrage that comes with that. But I think it's great for him. I think he's really sort of taking a lead on telling people what players are actually going through, and actually trying to educate people on how hard it is, and what, as fans, what you need to do to actually support players. And I think he deserves to go and enjoy himself. He deserves to have a new challenge. He deserves to have a fresh take on life, and hopefully it'll make him a better player. It'll make him a more rounded. It's a big step for him. A northerner stepping over into Paris.
Wigan to Wigan.
I think
Owen Farrell, croissant s'il vous plaît.
Obviously, Sean Edwards has been a massive role in showing that a northerner can make it over there. Yep. And I think best of luck to him. I think if he wants to go for lunch at the place in Paris again, I'm more than well. I'm available for a chat.
Coming through anytime soon. You gonna add something? My question was going to be: do you think we will see him again in an England shirt?
Do you know what? I hope so, because I think that sometimes in a career it's nice to separate yourself, or not reinvent yourself, but go into a different environment with a different challenge, a different mindset, different players around you, different requirements. It's a very different lifestyle. Playing in that incredible stadium, the politics, the interplay, the slight madness that happens over there, all of this will go into the melting pot. Now, some really struggle. You've seen some of these international players only ever last a season and then have to come home. I think Owen's resilient, and we've seen that. And I think if his family settle, and I know he'll embrace the club. He's obviously working with Stuart Lancaster, which I think makes a big difference. Between sort of his ability to indoctrinate himself with the way that Racing want to play. He's got good players around him. I think he will come back a better player, and I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see him playing refreshed. Maybe with just a little cigarette and a holder. I doubt that, but you know what I mean? I think it'd be quite good. Yeah, I'd love that. Imagine that. Especially just owned a beret and he just spoke everything with a French accent from now on. It would be incredible.
How big a hole does this leave at Sarries? Because it sounds like they're about to go through a hell of a rebuild. Mako, Billy, potentially looking at moving on. Mara has obviously re-signed, but Owen Farrell goes now as well. Yeah,
but I think
Jamie George has obviously re-signed.
But I think they're doing a great job. You look at the team that played on the weekend. There's a lot of fresh faces in there, anyway. So I think they're very good at doing that. Now, obviously, let's not underestimate that is a big hole that you're leaving with Owen Farrell. But we know. Alex Good has stepped up there and done a job for them before. Whether that's going to be his long-term future, probably not. But they have a way of they're a team that finds a way, and I think they've done smart things in the past. When they went through everything they went through and they put players on loan and bits and pieces, they've always managed to look after their players. So players want to go play for them, and that's the most important thing.
And I wonder how hard. It's not that hard, I think, for Saracens to attract an international 10 potentially. Right. They've got the budget, we'll see if they can do it.
200 appearances for Sarries, 6 Premiership titles, potentially with more to come, 3 European Champions Cups, 3 Six Nations titles, including a Grand Slam, I think. It's been a hell of a ride to this point.
I mean, he's been instrumental in every single one of them.
Yeah.
He's played his absolute heart out for that club. You, as a club, you could, the only thing you could do with Owen Farrell is wish him your best and go, fucking hell, you've given everything for us. You've done everything. He was instrumental. He's created memories. He was part of that club and the revival from when they used to buy players and try to create a team in the days with Venter came in and moved the whole process forward. And Mark McCall's done an amazing job. They're incredible partnerships. A bit like Tom Brady and Bill Belichick separating. Let's see how we get us on. Was it Saracens or was it Owen Farrell? Let's see what happens. I think it's a bit of both of them, and I think Owen's going to do brilliant.
He has got cards to play before this season is done and before he makes his move to Paris. Sarries obviously scrambling through into the last 16, or the round of 16 in the European Champions Cup. But that is the news that has broken, is that Owen Farrell is off to Racing and to Paris in July on a 2-year deal where he'll link up again with Stuart Lancaster, the man who gave him his England debut. Lots of stories around the game, as we said, at the moment, and we will get into all of that on the main show in partnership with our good friends at Continental Tires. That is out on Wednesday in all your usual channels. See you then.